All right, guys, welcome to this voiceover webinar for startups. My name is Dennis Okoye. I believe you already know that I have been in this industry for over 20 years, 23 years to be specific, and I've done different types of voicing. But to confess, there are some projects I'm doing of late currently that I'm actually new to. So voiceover is not just going to the studio to do voicing or to advertise or to well, of course, it's basically advertising, but it's just the act of using your voice to make money for yourself. That's your strength. That's your. Let me use military language right now. That's your weapon, and so you need to know how to handle these. So this voiceover webinar is actually for startups. So if you're new into voicing and you do not know what is voicing and you really want to get it, especially if you believe you have a fine voice and all of that, I think this is the webinar for you. So quickly, and I intend to use this, I intend to make this webinar as short as possible. But trust me, you're going to enjoy it all along the way. So let's head over to the screen right now while we are getting started, get it over with. Okay, can you come on? All right, so voice over for startups webinar. So the first thing we want to find out is what is voice over? All right, that's what comes to your mind. How do you see voice over? If they ask you what is voice over, what are you going to say? Well, simply put, voice over basically is simply the art and science of using your voice to sell products and services. All right, so it is an art, it is a science, and also if you look at what I have here, sell, we're talking commerce. So it is both an art, it's science. Science basically means knowledge, and also you need to know how to sell. All right, so without wasting much time, what do we mean by voicing, or what is the art of voice over? Well, that art simply means how you naturally sound, all right? And this should determine the kind of genre that you should focus on. So before I get into genre, what is the meaning of genre and all of that, what do I mean by the way you sound naturally? Now, art there is talking about your God-given talent, your God-given gift. How do you sound? All right? Do you think you can do it? Do you think if people hear you speak, do you think that people will love what they are hearing? Do you think people will love your voice? And I want to quickly bring this home. For you to be a fantastic voiceover artist, you really do not need to have a fantastic voice. Or don't let me use the word fantastic voice. Every voice is fantastic. We've seen people that do not really have a good voice like that, but they are very successful musicians. All right? Everybody knows this young man, Davido. You heard the way his voices. Everybody knows Knives. You heard the way his voices. But that didn't stop them from getting into music. Your voice must not sound like Celine Dion, must not sound like Mariah Carey, must not sound like our own Tiwa Savage and all of that before you say, okay, I want to get into voicing, or I want to get into music. All right. So these are the things that you need to understand. And also this will help you, especially for those of you who have a very fine voice, like me, do not think that just because you have a fine voice that automatically you will be a great voiceover artist. That's where you need training, and that's the reason for this webinar, and that's the reason also for my voiceover school. So you need to get trained. The first time where I got this impression first was when I newly joined voiceover. So I joined a particular can I say club? I joined a particular online association like that, Voiceover Universe. And there was this particular guy that I listened to his reel. He was one of their main voiceover artists on that platform, voiceoveruniverse.com. And this guy's voice was not really okay, kind of blocked. And I was shocked when I heard this guy's delivery. People, I fell in love with his voice. So it wasn't really about the voice, it was about the delivery. How did you deliver the job that you are given to? So it is about understanding what the script is saying, and then it's about knowing exactly how to deliver it. So you know what the client wants, and then that's the person giving you the job. And also at the same time, you want to sound as good as possible, to the audience. All right. So that's what it means. So it's the way you naturally sound. So do not try to change your voice. In fact, there's another thing, especially for guys. I met with a lot of voiceover artists who smoke. Why? Because they want to have a big voice. They want to have a big voice, something like mine. I remember a couple of years back, about 15 years ago now, I nearly met a guy, and in a TV station, I was introduced to the guy, just to introduce me to other brands so that I can further my voiceover career and all of that. And so when the guy heard my voice, I was like, wow. So he now asked me, he said, do you smoke? I said, no, why would I smoke? He said, wow, you mean you don't smoke and your voice is like this? Man, it's not. Because this guy is actually a chain smoker. I don't know if he still smokes up to now. But then, you do not have to smoke to block your voice. As a matter of fact, there's one thing I've noticed from experience. When you smoke or you try to do all those artificial methods to make your voice thick, your voice becomes cracked. Not cracked, that's not the word. It becomes coarse. I've heard a lot of voiceover artists and I don't like the way they sound. Voiceover artists, just because you want to make your voice big, you're not sounding like, yeah. No, it's coarse. I mean, there's a project we are on right now, and there's a guy who's there with us. That's the way the guy's voice sounds. I don't like it. I mean, I can't use such a voice for any of my projects. So keep your voice as natural, as warm as it should be, because that is your art. That art is your God-given talent. The way you sound. The fact that you are even interested in voicing is okay. Do not try to make yourself or make your voice sound whichever way. Go with your God-given voice. Let me put it that way. All right. So now we said the art is how you sound naturally should now determine the kind of genre that you should focus on. Now, what do I mean by genre? Now, I have two genre here. In my voiceover training, which you are going to see the link. Okay, my hand is not showing. All right. The link, right? No, the link should not be. The link should be here. Yeah. This is the link. Yeah, this very link that you're looking up. So, you're going to see that I actually have 5 genre, but for the purpose of this webinar, this is not a training, so to say, this is just a webinar. I have 5, but today I'm going to focus on 2, and that is the instructor and also the real person. That's what we're going to be focusing on today. I do not want to delve into very, very complex, voicing like dubbing, like audio book, but let's just go with the very simple one, with the kind of voiceover you hear every day, jingle, adverts, and all of that. So who is an instructor? The role of this particular person or voice talent is to instruct or provide information to fulfill a specific goal or purpose. For example, a corporate training video or children's video game. Like, I believe you know that all those video games that you play, I mean, I have one on my system right now. I just downloaded it. I'm tempted to actually show you the game, but I'm not going to do that because I need to focus on this. So, I mean, when I was listening to the narration, I was imagining those guys in the studio, I mean, at times when you watch cartoons, you actually forget that the puppet, the cartoon character is not the one talking, it's actually a human being recording, in a studio, and then they now lip sync. We call it lip syncing. They now lip sync that audio to the mouth, to the movement of the mouth of that particular cartoon character. So, like children's game, Where's my cursor? Yeah. The voiceover best suited for this kind of project is a straightforward, didactic, and educated voice. Now, I have an example here of one of the instructor voiceover jobs that I did. So this is how it sounds. Stop.
Adidas has been gradually growing its share of the sportswear market, becoming the largest sportswear manufacturer in Europe and second in the world with a net sales of 14.49 billion euros. Adidas has been gradually growing its share of the sportswear market, becoming the largest sportswear.
So you can see that straightforward, didactic, educated. They are telling us about Adidas, that particular brand. All right. So that is what an instructor sounds like. So in order for you to be an instructor, you have to be actually calm. You have to be confident. You have to be sure of what you are saying. So like I told you, it's not just about having a nice voice. It's actually about convincing the end user. It's about convincing the person you're selling to buy that brand that you're selling. Now, this was a documentary for that particular sports brand. All right. And when you hear that, you actually love what you are hearing. I believe you love what you heard. Now, the second genre I'm going to talk about on that art is the real person, or we also call them the guy or the girl next door. Here, you do not have to fine-tune your voice. Like the instructor, you need to fine-tune your voice. You need to go, breathe in, breathe out. You need to do some exercises. We're going to get that. We are going to get further in that when we get into the science of it. So you breathe in, breathe out. You do all those training things. Adidas, you don't just say Adidas. You go Adidas. As you can see, there's a difference in my voice. Now that's training. All right. So the real person. Now, this character is homegrown, sensible, friendly, with a touch of familiarity, and provides a more intimate interpretation of the script that instills trust. What we are saying is that do not pretend to be another person. That is who you are. In fact, as a guy or a girl next door, like I said, these are referred to as the real person. That's who you are. I'm going to give you an example. There was a time where I did an advert for a telecommunications company. For those of you who know me, I'm currently on an advert now, a telecommunications advert. And so that you might know, I've also done another one on an anti-malaria one. It will be out very soon. I played doctor there. So not voiceover as a model. I'm a model also. So okay. All right. So we were doing this advert for this other guy, and he's a comedian, and he was supposed to be the brand ambassador of that particular telecommunications brand at during that particular year. So he was using a certain language. Now he was supposed to say, let me come here now. He was supposed to use this word. I believe you can see this. I believe I get this spelling correctly. Whatever. I think, well, if I didn't get this spelling correctly, correct it yourself. That's harsh, right? So, you were supposed to make mention of this word. Okay, let me check it. All right. Okay, this is correct spelling. Now, everybody knows this is Gazette. All right? If you don't know, this is Gazette. But he was saying, like a lot of local people say in my country, Nigeria, in Lagos here, they say Gazette. So when he started, he said, everybody Gazette, oh Gazette, everybody Gazette. And that was what we heard growing up, that this word is actually pronounced as Gazette. Okay? So it was when I got into my job, I realized that because you need to know how to pronounce words well, that's part of science of voicing. It's Gazette. So I went to meet the director that, dude, correct this guy. It's called Gazette, not Gazette. And the guy told me, said, that is who he is. He's real. That is what he will call it any day, anytime. So that is the function of that's what a real person is. You're not supposed to actually speak that correct English except if the script requires you to do so. So you want to talk naturally, the way you would talk. You don't have to have a nice voice. In fact, we would prefer to have people, because we have people with more blocked voice, more coarse voice. We would prefer that so that it will sound more natural. It will not sound doctored, just like the instructor. Okay, so that's exactly how it is. Now let me give you some of my example of what this real person is.
Did you not take my message seriously? None but I do be myself, and only 2 servants have been scoring this town searching for this smoke you call champion.
Oh, Moba, did you bello? Let us first get inside.
No, Elder. I am tired. I am fed up. And even further from the throne than I was many months ago that this mission began. Did you?
So do you see that? I mean, that's me doing a local English, an accented, a dialect accented English for this radio drama, because this could also double as a character in a radio drama. So that's a radio drama that we did some couple of years back, and so that's the real person. Not necessarily that crisp Queen's English, not necessarily that. You are just being real. So for a start, I think these are the things you need to focus on. Do not get yourself into having to change. Though there's some people who have a natural way of behaving like cartoons. You can do that with a good director, all right? But when you're starting, train yourself in this. Instructor, real person.
Adidas has been gradually growing its share of the sport.